My name is David Taylor.
I'm Bruce Chandler.
Joe Schmick.
Judy Warnick.
Matt Shea.
JT Wilcox.
I'm an orchardist.
I'm a farmer.
And I'm a cattle rancher.
I can't imagine a better place to grow up. We had 1,500 acres. We trusted everybody. We were outside all the time. I wish that more kids could grow up like that. We worked our tails off, but we loved it.
And I grew up on a dairy farm, so I've always been interested in agricultural issues because that was my family background, and natural resource issues. Because of this great state that we have, we want to protect those natural resources, but not to the detriment of our economy either.
I come from a family of ranchers and loggers in Washington State, and I don't think they would be able to make a living today in ranching. I'm a second-generation farmer.
I'm proud.
I'm proud to work on the land. Actually, watching people eat something that I've grown and smile, I can't really describe how exciting that is. I always wanted my kids to share that experience, and I think that they have. I think farming's what got me involved in politics in the first place. It became obvious to me that you have to be in the room, you have to actually get involved in order to make things better.
For me, it's to try to pass laws that ultimately make it easier for people to make a living on the land and doing what they love to do. The interesting thing about agriculture is it's very sustainable. You know, you look at Washington State over the past 3 years, we faced continued budget deficits and high unemployment, and for the most part, ag's been that stabilizing factor in our economy.
When you're in the kind of farming that I do, you think in the longest possible terms.
Farming is a lot about renewal. Sustainability is to be able to go from one generation to another and still have the soil that's fertile and to have the kind of balance of insects and other life that helps you to actually be a good steward of the farm. Because without that, you end up mining the environment, and then after a few years you find out you can't be productive at all.
In a 9-year period, we went from 10 cows to over 200. So I think that talks real well as to our management technique and our ability to improvise and if need be rest an area and go in and do some intensive grazing in other areas.
We didn't need the Department of Ecology to define what sustainability was for us, because over 5 generations now we've learned for ourselves what it means. And our forestry is a great example of that. In 102 years now, some of the forest land has been harvested twice, and I'm working hard right now to set up some wonderful forests that I'm hoping my children can retire on.
Well, family farms, it's a legacy issue for me. I didn't grow up on a farm, blood, sweat, and tears to build it, and I'm hopeful that my kids want to take it over when the time comes.
We are the original
environmentalists.
You can't neglect the environment. You know, the idea that things in their natural state mean that we don't do anything, I think, is mistaken. And the fact of the matter is that good, sophisticated farming not only feeds people, but it actually is good stewardship of the land. We
do about 60 acres of hay that we couldn't do if we didn't have water. Most of our pastures are irrigated pasture. Typically on an irrigated pasture, our stocking rate's 1 cow per acre. It depends on how good the grass is, sometimes as high as 2 cows per acre. But when it's not irrigated, you could be as high as 1 cow per 200 acres or 1 cow per 300 acres. So the ability of an agricultural producer to have enough numbers of animals to make it profitable is in fact dependent upon water. The policies this state makes
make all the difference for the success of farmers and agriculture.
The profitability and viability of agriculture.
You are going to live or die based on the decisions that they make in Olympia. One of the things that holds us back is it's so hard to cite food processing plants because of the regulatory issues involved. And if you're going to have value-added food business that employs a lot of people, you've got to be able to cite plants out in the rural areas where the food is.
Barriers to trade hurt us. We've got to be able to move our crops and product to market. We have a lot of regulations that may not necessarily help with production of ag, and every one of these things are a hindrance. People think, oh, it's just a one little thing. Well, it's one little thing added to another, and pretty soon we just have a whole web of regulations that we have got to work through. Oftentimes as a farmer, I spend so much time in the office doing paperwork, and I want to be out on the ground. I want to be out farming.
The number one concern that farmers have is, can we continue to be profitable in the regulatory environment that we live in the state of Washington?
And a lot of these regulations doesn't really add any more safety to our products or any of the other desired outcomes. It's just another necessary burden.
I think agriculture's got a bright future right now. As long as the government stays out of it, we'll be just fine.
The best help that the legislature can give to Washington's agriculture is to not try to micromanage the practices that our experience and our education and our research and development have really shown to be the best practices to sustain agriculture in the future. We are one of the most trade-dependent states
in the country.
Transportation issues are huge in this area. Vitally important we be able to keep those roads in good condition and that we can get our products to market.
In central Washington, we as farmers really appreciate the value of a good transportation system. 30 to 40% of all the food commodities that are produced here in the Yakima Valley are exported, not just across the country but overseas. And in order to do that, we have to have a system that involves trains, trucks, and ships in order to get our products into the markets where they need to be.
We just have to haul things all over the Northwest, all over the country, all over the world. So if you cannot move your product, you have no way to stay in business, you have no way to employ people, and you have no way to contribute to the economy.
I think agriculture will come back stronger than before. For Washington State, it's a $3.5 billion impact on the economy. It generates 160,000 jobs, plus all the jobs that occur in processing and logistics and marketing. It's really a cornerstone industry for our state, and we do better at it than most any other state in the country.